This is a session on culture, sports, and tourism. So let me welcome Ms. Rosanna Law, Secretary for Culture, Sports, and Tourism, and her team to our meeting. I will invite the Secretary to deliver opening remarks, and then the floor will be open. Members, if you want to ask questions, please press the request to speak button. Ms. Law will now take the floor. Thank you, Chair. I will briefly introduce our key tasks under the tourism, sports, cultural, and creative industries in the current financial year. Chairman, as mentioned in this meeting a number of times before, Hong Kong tourism industry sustained strong momentum. We expect to welcome 53.8 million visitor arrivals to Hong Kong this year, marking an 8% increase from the previous year. The visitor arrivals in the first quarter exceeded 14.3 million. We will continue to promote the development of mega events plus tourism through diverse cultural festivals, tourism projects, and mega events so as to encourage visitors to extend their stays and enhance their desire to revisit. This year, the government will allocate $1.66 billion to the Hong Kong Tourism Board, representing a significant 34.5% increase from the previous financial year. The Hong Kong Tourism Board will make good use of the increased funding, step up its marketing efforts in source markets with potential, including mainland cities outside Guangdong, as well as emerging markets such as the Middle East and ASEAN, scale up its flagship events and promotion, organize more signature festive events, launch a brand new show with a theme of light festivals, and promote the hosting of a wide range of conferences, exhibitions, and incentive travel events in Hong Kong. The Hong Kong Tourism Board will further attract more international cruises to include Hong Kong in their itineraries with a view to bringing more high-end overnight visitors to Hong Kong. The central government rolled out a number of measures benefiting Hong Kong between 24 and 25, injecting enormous impetus to the tourism industry. We'll continue to make good use of these measures and deepen cooperation with the GBA and other mainland provinces and cities. This includes exploring with airlines to offer multi-destination flight itineraries to attract overnight visitors to Hong Kong and the mainland. We'll allocate more resources to proactively promote sports development in Hong Kong, including an injection of $1.2 billion into the sports portion of the Arts and Sports Development Fund. The injection will be strategically directed towards four key initiatives. First, we'll strengthen support for team sports. The current scheme will be reviewed after this year's Asian Games to determine the funding details of the new round. Secondly, we will support the Sports Federation and Olympic Committee of Hong Kong, China in enhancing coach training systems. Third, we extend the urban sports funding scheme. And fourth, we will increase the funding level for local international events by 50% starting this September to support more diverse and high-level sports competitions to be held in Hong Kong. We will continue to promote Hong Kong as a center for major international sports events and develop sports as an industry through the MMARC system. Since its commissioning a year ago, Kai Tak Sports Park has successfully delivered over 120 major programs. The utilization of the stadium and arena is close to 90%. We'll continue to work with the operators to stage more international sports and entertainment events in the precinct with a view to promoting the synergistic development of sports and mega events. The successful hosting of the 15th National Games and the 12th National Games for persons with disabilities and the 9th Special Olympics jointly by Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau in December and November not only demonstrate Hong Kong's capability to organize large-scale sports events, but also lay a solid foundation for hosting more major events in GBA. We'll further promote the development of local sports and deepen cooperation and exchange in sports with the GBA cities in order to contribute to our country's efforts in building a strong sporting nation. On cultural and creative industries, the Cultural and Creative Industries Development Agency continues to promote industrialization of the sectors. The government has injected more than $9 billion in total into the Create Smart initiative and the Film Development Fund, FDF, to promote development of the 8 sectors. They have respectively sponsored more than 860 and 490 projects, having incubated successful cases. In 2025-26, we have started novel film tourism projects, namely Kowloon Walled City: A Cinematic Journey and Yau Ma Tei Police Station: A Cinematic Journey exhibition. They have received enthusiastic responses from locals and tourists. We'll continue to fund and organize entertainment and design mega events, including the Entertainment Expo, Hong Kong Fashion Fest, and Business of Design Week, to round up local and international industry players to explore business opportunities in international markets. We'll continue to strengthen cross-sectoral and cross-genre collaborations and foster the development of cultural IP rights. At the same time, We will take forward the development of the arts trading ecosystem to make Hong Kong the high-end art trading hub. And we're happy to announce that last week we completed an agreement with Art Basel so that Hong Kong will be the only city hosting this event in the region. And apart from that, there will be continuous public education and also publicity. We will also continue to support Hong Kong's local art ecosystem and devise strategies relating to marketing. We expect to complete the relevant study within this year. At the same time, the West Kowloon Cultural District Authority will take forward the development of the arts trading ecosystem. The Bureau will continue to support the authority in developing and operating the WKCD project on a self-financing basis, as well as various measures for industrial development of the industries. The government has allocated a further 40 million Hong Kong dollars to the Hong Kong Arts Development Council for organizing the second edition of the Hong Kong Performing Arts Expo in October this year, establishing the event into a flagship platform for Hong Kong's arts and cultural industries. The expo seeks to further promote international cultural and artistic exchanges and business negotiations and strengthen Hong Kong's role as an East-West center for international cultural exchange. We'll review the funding mechanism for art groups. We introduce assessment criteria tied to performance and artistic standards. We aim to increase mobility and opportunities to advance, encourage continuous innovation, and develop a sustainable ecosystem for the arts, culture, and creative industries. That ends my introduction. I welcome questions from members. I see that there are 18 members waiting to speak. We have some 70 minutes to go, so we must strictly observe the 4-minute time limit in order to allow all members to speak. So I'll give each member 4 minutes question and answer included. I reiterate that in order to observe the time limit strictly, please don't spend 2 minutes on the question and save only 2 minutes for the official to answer your question, because otherwise I'll just stop you and you have to follow up on the question on another occasion. Let me read out the names of members: Webster Ng, Lee Kuan Yew, Jonathan Leung, Charles Chung, Chris Ip, Andrew Fan, Kenneth Falk, Nixie Lam, Sunny Tan, Ken Wong, Joe Chan, Alan Chan, Lau Ka Kang, Albert Zhang, Vivian Kong, Maggie Chen, Perry Yu, Christine Fong. Mr. Webster will kick off. 2 questions. The question relates to 140, 143, and 145. Now, about the IP rights in B of 140, my question is this. We offer tax breaks to the prospective business, and I understand from the answer that the subsidy amount will be capped at $1 million, subject to the case assessment. So I'd like to have more information so that we can develop Hong Kong into an IP hub. The next question is about C of reply 143 about the M-mark system. In September 2025, enhancement measures of the M-mark system was implemented. And in fact, according to the government notification, after submission of the relevant guarantee for cash sponsorship, then up to 50% of the subsidy will be granted. Now, if my understanding is correct, then from the matching funds point of view, that means the money will not be disbursed first. Will you consider adjusting the time frame? The third question is about reply 145. This is about arts. I appreciate that for commercially sensitive information, you cannot disclose it. But from the accountancy sector's point of view, for the purpose of conducting checks on money laundering offenses, we sometimes are required to check things relating to artwork and even crypto assets. I'm not suggesting that artwork means money laundering, but there are procedures we need to go through. So I'd like to have more information from the administration. Secretary, now 3 different questions. First, on IP. The principle is this. In other places, the governments offer tax tax concessions to products not only relating to IP. Now, on a number of occasions, I stressed that we charge a profit tax at the rate of 16.5%. That's a very low rate comparing to the rest of the world. We have a simple low tax regime. So when it comes to tax concessions, we need to be careful. We tend to offer subsidies to help build IPs. The second question is about the earmark system. Indeed, documentary proof is required. When it comes to government grants and funds, the applicant is required to submit documents. For those applying for the fund under earmark system, I would encourage them to submit documents as early as possible. If they are to our satisfaction, we'd like to disperse the funds as quickly as possible as well, subject to their meeting our requirement. Because with the funds dispersed, they'll be able to make use of it in a more flexible manner when the event takes place. On the contrary, if we don't receive all the necessary documents, we'll be concerned about the operator's overall capability. Now, the next question is about crypto, as mentioned by the member. For arts trading, we encourage trading itself. As for the currency to be used, whether it's crypto assets or stable coins or other forms of currencies, our stance is neutral. Now, the member mentioned matters relating to the AML, and I'm sure that the Hong Kong MA, the FSTB, as well as the police have, in general, the relevant requirements put in place. Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. I have a question on CSTB 118. According to the reply, the administration will roll out measures to promote AI-based itineraries, and that there will be an enhancement of the Discovery Hong Kong map with the use of big data analytics. There will be a consolidated information platform on entertainment information and catering. This can help keep visitors here. But I don't think we should just stop at that. I think that all the tourism products should be consolidated and so as to foster an ecosystem. At the moment, concessions are offered by individual hotel operators or F&B operators. The government does not take the lead. The government only provides coordination and support. In the mainland, many cities offer these packages from a policy point of view. For example, if you purchase a ticket from the ticketing platform, then after the concert, you will enjoy some concessions if you book hotels, book tickets for other tourist attractions, even on another platform. So my question is, on this basis, will the government go further and build a smart tourism platform so that information can be consolidated? The government can take the lead to build this ecosystem. That we can also drive collaboration among government departments and the sector so that the concessions scattered across different sectors and operators can be consolidated. In a one-stop manner, the visitors will be able to stay overnight after, say, going to a show or an exhibition. Secretary. Yes, Mr. Lee, I think that there was a previous discussion and we considered this suggestion before. Now, I think the Hong Kong Tourism Board, first and foremost, provides tourism information. Second, when it comes to AI, we offer bespoke itineraries. So for tourists, with the use of AI, we can help build a tailor-made itinerary for individuals. About concessions and packages, the Hong Kong Tourism Board has strived to offer greater convenience to tourists. In fact, there are different platforms. They offer hotel and other consumption packages. We also encourage the tourism sector to do more because the tourism faces very keen competition against the so-called online travel agent. The Travel Industry Council is the lead association of the sector, so I encourage the TIC to consolidate what they have and roll out targeted products so that they'll be able to add value to their own industry and get a bigger share in this market. The Hong Kong Tourism Board will be happy to work with the sector.
Mr. Jonathan Leung, thank you. I'd like to follow up on my own question, CSTB 126. The Hong Kong Tourism Board organized the Hong Kong Wine and Dine Festival last year. It attracted approximately 163,000 people to the event. That's 30% higher than last year. This is such a successful IP. Can we drive the catering industry? We have 250 restaurants in the food map of Hong Kong, the Taste Hong Kong Gourmet Guide. Can we include these restaurants in the Wine and Dine Festival so that we can enhance our reputation as a food paradise and we can encourage visitors go for in-depth tourism to drive the economy in various districts? Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Leung. The Hong Kong Tourism Board will expand the scale of the Hong Kong Wine and Dine Festival. We may extend the operating or business hours of the festival. We, in autumn and winter, try to make use of the brand of Hong Kong Wine and Dine Festival to attract visitors. We have this Taste Hong Kong Gourmet Guide, and we invite local master chefs to recommend favorite restaurants across 18 districts, include them in the guide. They are not just about Michelin-star restaurants, but also local local eateries. I will ask the executive director to elaborate. Thank you. Hong Kong is a famous city for food. Apart from Hong Kong Wine and Dine Festival, we offer or include food and beverage elements in all of our events. The Wine and Dine Festival is usually organized in October or early November, and we will now have a November food month, and we work with the catering industry to promote our delicacies to the world. The Taste Hong Kong Gourmet Guide is just our starting point. We include now 250 restaurants in the guide, and we're going to recommend eateries from different districts. We invited master chefs of the world's 50 best bars, Asia's 50 best restaurants to Hong Kong, and we asked them to recommend to visitors their preferred restaurants and bars in Hong Kong. And this is how we promote a gourmet to the world. Thank you. Mr. Chao Siu-chung, thank you. I'd like to follow up on my own questions. That's 211, the number of lifeguards in the civil service establishment. We have a 17% of vacancies in the civil service lifeguards grade. Compared to 2024, the vacancy rate was 6.5%. So we are seeing a 2 or 3 times increase in the number of vacancies. The recruitment rate went from 25% in 2022 to 23% in 2024. So it seems that the government is having difficulties in recruiting lifeguards. Should we restructure the civil service lifeguards grade to solve the issues? I'd like to ask about reply 248. 2 years ago, the government outsourced 2 of their swimming pools. What is the way forward after the contracts end in September? The policy address said that the government have plans to introduce a market operation model to have the private sector run our beaches. What is the progress? If we are to have beaches managed by the private sector, will we outsource the lifeguard service? Thank you. I will ask the Director of LCS to answer the questions. Thank you. It's true that the LCSD is having difficulties in recruiting civil service lifeguards. We have 44 swimming pools, and there are some 1,200 to 1,300 private swimming pools out there, and the remuneration for their lifeguards are much better than what we are offering. So we are having difficulties, but we have adopted many measures to stabilize the manpower. I can name a few of our measures. First, we recruit lifeguards on a contract basis, and the remuneration is comparable to that in the private market. And thus has temporarily solved the manpower shortage issue. Second, we have a seasonal lifeguard training program. We recruit first and train later. This is the approach that we adopt. After joining the program, the students get a subsidy, and after passing the test upon completion of the program, we will hire them as lifeguards directly. Third, we are working with the Employee Retraining Board and the Hong Kong Life Saving Association to encourage interested citizens to participate in the programs offered by the ERB, and after they pass the test, they can become our civil service lifeguards. The number of swimming pools and beaches that can be opened this year is comparable to that of last year. On a trial basis, we have outsourced the lifeguard service of our swimming pools that are patroned by fewer people to a contractor. No facilities in those swimming pools need to be closed off just because we don't have enough lifeguards. We may extend the relevant arrangement to other swimming pools. On the introduction of a market operation model, we are going to turn beaches with business potential into ones that are run by the private sector. We're going to engage the potential contractors to look into whether there is any interest. The contractors running the beaches have to offer lifeguard services as well. Next, Mr. Chris Yip. Thank you. I'd like to follow up on CSTB 070. There are 230 graduates from Hong Kong APA. We also have the ADC and West Kowloon Cultural District. They have various internship programs. Do we have any mechanism to track whether the graduates are working full-time or part-time, and whether they are working in the same industry? Many arts group told me that the arts administration programs offered by the ADC are very popular. It has offered training opportunities for the trade practitioners. I wonder if the administration is going to put in more resources to nurture more talents. including arts administrators. After declared interest, I'm a deputy chairman of the ADC. Secretary, I thank the member for his concern in the relevant programs. We have not tracked whether the graduates of the internship programs are working in these arts and culture industry. I believe that the academies or universities have a relevant survey. I will ask them to give us the result of such survey so that we can follow up on the graduates. The programs of the WKCDA may not be a proper degree program that lasts a few years. Some of the students may already be working in the industry and may want to take these courses as a form of continuing education. So we don't have any surveys on the graduates of these courses. We need different types of talents in the industry. We need art administrators, and as we are promoting the construction of a arts trading platform, we also need talents in arts art valuation or repair. Now we are conducting a study which cover facilities needed for a arts trading platform, which include, say, insurance, restoration, and talent training. We also have to look at our tax regime to look at whether we can make any improvement to dovetail with the establishment of the art trading platform. Mr. Andrew Fan. Thank you. I'd like to follow up on my own question. That's CSTB 220. That's about the 10-year development blueprint for sports and recreation facilities. The government said that 4 out of the 16 projects have already been subsidized. Some of them are just in progress. Details to be confirmed. I wonder if the administration will create a timetable. Take the Park Shek Sports Center as an example. It was suggested in budget 2017. Now we don't have a timetable yet. For the redevelopment of the Hong Kong Coliseum, we don't have a timetable yet, but that's very important to the promotion of a mega event economy. In phase 1 of the 10-year blueprint, there is a shortage of leisure and recreation venues. So how can we solve the problem? Thank you. Secretary. Regarding projects in the blueprint, some of them have been implemented. In the past few years, we have COVID, and due to various reasons, the government's budget is tight, so we need to take forward various projects step by step. For some projects, we are conducting technical feasibility study. Even after completing such study, we need to look at our financial position before we can take forward any of the projects. So for Hong Kong Stadium, I've said multiple times that we did have some plans for the redevelopment, but that may involve a huge financial commitment. We want to turn Hong Kong Stadium into a community sports facility. Given the government's financial position, we don't think that it's cost-effective for us to take forward the relevant project. Hong Kong Stadium is a very important venue for football games. To better make use of the stadium, starting from April this year, we have turned the VIP box to offices of the 7 national sports associations. We are also encouraging football associations to make use of the Hong Kong Stadium for football games. So we don't plan to redevelop Hong Kong Stadium soon. We have been working on solving the problem of touting venues, and we're looking into whether we should open up more venues for people. We have the Chun Kwan O Velodrome. If there's no training going on, we may open up the venue for people to play badminton. Thank you.
Next, Mr. Kenneth Fogg. Thank you, Chair. A follow-up question on 049050. 2 questions are submitted. According to the reply, there are different estimates for developing sports as an industry and for major international events, respectively $593 million. So for developing major international sports events as well as making sports an industry, some $300 million. I want to know the breakdown. Has it to do with the LCSD manpower and the venues? Now, in 2025-26, the estimate for major events is 900 million. So that's down by 300 million. This will have an impact on our efforts in attracting major sports events here. The next question is about optics. Now, this is a very crucial link, but to be frank, I don't think optics is performing too well. The system is not advanced enough. By 2025, the figure dropped to 3.28 million. That's the sales. That's the income. As for the maintenance fees is on the rise. Now, I think we should review optics because for West Kowloon Cultural District and Kai Tak, they have their respective ticketing system. For government activities, I don't think you make use of optics either. So is there a way to enhance the efficiency? Now, I will give the floor to Director to explain optics, but let me take the first question. That is the estimates for major sports events and developing sports industry. The estimate is 593 million. That's an apparent change comparing to the previous year. Last year, we had to hold the 15th National Games, so that accounted for the increase in expenditure. We also dished out resources through different channels. Apart from sponsorship from the Hong Kong Jockey Club, under the M-Mark system, we also set aside some funds for the purpose. So if you take a look at the year before, and that's 2024-25, $525 million were set aside as estimates for promoting Hong Kong as a center for major sports events and developing sports as an industry. 2026-27, this estimate stands at 593 million. So comparing to 2024-25, the figure has increased by 10%. Comparing to the year to last year, there was a cut because last year we had to hold the national games. I'll give the floor to the director. UpTex was established in the 1980s, so it's a long-standing platform. UpTex was set up to provide a one-stop platform for the performances or shows in government venues. Now, with more and more venues available and different commercial platforms emerging, things have changed. There are at least 6 to 7 such platforms for the private sector. Like Mr. Kenneth Fox said, as I understand from the sector, for performances held in non-government venues, they'd like to work with different ticketing platforms as well. They have their own partners. On the whole, we want to enhance Uptech's service quality so that operators giving performances in the non-LCSD venues will also make use of Uptechs as well. We will also consider offering concessions. I have 2 follow-up questions. One about 201. This is about the yacht and berthing facilities in Hong Kong and Aberdeen typhoon shelter. Now, I see a detailed reply from the administration. I'd like to have a timetable. When will the facility be commissioned? Now, if we are to develop yacht economy, we need cross-bureau efforts. So I want to know whether such working groups have been set up within the government, or is the government going by the usual approach? We'll consider setting up interdepartmental working groups. In 236, according to the reply, starting from April, 7 NSAs will rent offices in the Hong Kong Stadium. But in 2024, the government proposed a review of the Hong Kong Stadium. I'd like to know the specific details. Secretary, thank you, Ms. Lam, for the question about Hong Kong Stadium. I answered that question before, so I'm not going to repeat. Hong Kong Stadium is a facility that complements Kai Tak Sports Park. Kai Tak Sports Park was only commissioned about a year ago. Some major sports events such as the Saudi Cup or the Guangdong Hong Kong Football Cup were held in the Hong Kong Stadium. So the Hong Kong Stadium serves as a main venue for such football games. At the same time, we'd like to further enrich the functions of the Hong Kong Stadium. About yacht tourism, in our reply, we explained that the reply is actually given by the CDD, and in fact, they've started tendering for the works. They plan to submit the funding application to LegCo within this year for works to begin for completion in 4 years. Now, definitely, different government departments take part in a works project. The CDD is a project manager, so to speak, and it closely liaises with the Tourism Commission as well as other government departments. Dr. Sunny Tan. Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to ask a follow-up question on 164, the question that I submitted. Director Xia Baolong yesterday mentioned the traditional industries in Hong Kong, which are very competitive. And we also have traditional industries in Hong Kong. We need to bolster their status in order to realize the goals in the 15th Five-Year Plan, and that is to enhance the influence of Chinese culture. That includes the Hong Kong Fashion Fest and making Hong Kong an important center for textile and fashion in the region. So my question is, how will the government continue to support the garment, textile, and the fashion industries? That is, how do we address the shortfall or the shortcomings so that more activities can be held and that our base can be further enhanced so as to unleash the potential of traditional industries. The other point is about an incubation scheme for the fashion industry. again, this will be subject to a review. I hope that the government will support our efforts, and that is called the FI program. Secretary. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Dr. Sunny Tan, for raising this issue. The fashion industry is one of the traditional industries. However, I've noticed this phenomenon. Over the years, we have focused on producing fashion products for foreign brands and designers. But as to local designers, that hinges on people's preference. And we have held the Hong Kong Fashion Fest twice with very good response. In fact, this year we are going to combine Hong Kong Fashion Fest with center stage of the Hong Kong TDC in September. And this will amplify the effects of both events. For people who are fond of fashion, they will come to Hong Kong in September. This is the perfect opportunity for them to start any business negotiations and to talk about fashion. We're going to put in resources. We also work very closely with Dr. Sunny Tan's council. Apart from business promotion, the member also mentioned nurturing designer talents. And we are in the process of consolidating the fashion incubation program so that we can groom talents in a more effective manner. We're not going to cut down on the number of incubatees. Definitely there will be the same number, if not more, comparing to the previous two cohorts, and we will also be the gatekeeper. We will pick startups with potential. There will also be KPIs to make sure that their businesses will sustain. In the past, in fact, we had this experience. The Housing Authority had this program called the Wellbeing Design, incorporating some young designers so that in developing new facilities, young designers will have a part to play in the process. We want the same to be given to local designers as well, so that as they manufacture garments, they can also give opportunities to local brands. Mr. Ken Wong. Mr. Kenneth Fogg, yes, sorry, I forgot to declare just now that I am the Vice President of the SF&OC as well as the President of the Hong Kong Gymnastics Association. Mr. Ken Wong, I have questions on 177, 179, and 180. Now, back in 2002, the SAR government put forward the strategies to promote sports in the community, support elite sports, and maintaining Hong Kong as a center for major international sports events. And then in 2021, in the policy address, the chief executive further proposed enhancing professionalism in sports and developing sports as an industry. In the past 20 years or so, we have made numerous achievements. Now, I have a number of follow-up questions. We need to enhance coach training. In 2026-27, the government will set aside $300,000 for the Hong Kong Sports Institute coaches to apply for overseas training courses and attend international conferences. Can you tell us about the eligibility? Will part-time as well as full-time coaches be included? And what if there is it goes over the budget? Will there be further injection? The second point is about training for coaches in secondary and primary schools, and that there is also a subsidy scheme for student athletes to take part in training. I want to know the specifics, whether there will be other forms of support.
Secretary, we will supply the members with figures later on as to whether the Hong Kong SI will work with schools. I don't think they need to ask schools for venues, in particular training for elite athletes. I think that Mr. Wong was not asking about Hong Kong SI, but national sports associations. They want the NSAs to work more closely with schools. We do now have district sports associations, and we also have a system for students of different age groups, and that's a squad approach that we are adopting. For outstanding students, they may be scouted and they may join the NSAs. We have to look at the results of the students' achievements in sports game. We hope that by promoting elite sports, athletes will be able to obtain great results in, say, for example, the Olympic Games, the National Games, and Asian Games. When that happens, more athletes will be able or willing to participate in elite training because that may pose a short-term impact on their studies, and they need to make such a sacrifice. We have been offering enough support for coaches, and if there is a need for us to dedicate more resources on the relevant training, we will do it. Mr. Chen Chou Kwang, thank you. I'd like to follow up on my own question, reply CSTB 004. The Hong Kong Tourism Board only include 3 of the traditional events in Hong Kong. We have the Taoist Day, the birth of the Buddha, the birth of Tin Hao. I think that we need to promote all these local characteristics. We have many local distinctive attractions that showcase our unique culture. When we organize festival-related events or activities, we see many tourists there. I wonder if the Secretary will proactively organize these activities, and I wonder if the administration will step up promotion of the festivals that I just mentioned. We have this Chen Chao Bun Festival. That's one of the signature event of the Hong Kong Tourism Board. When we promote Hong Kong in other countries, that's one of our star program. Apart from the Bun Festival, we have the Yulan Festival, the Taihan Dragon Dance Festival. All along, we have been assessing these events to look into which project to support financially. Even if we're not subsidizing these events, we promote them extensively. Executive Director of the Hong Kong TV, please. That's correct. Secretary has already covered what I wanted to say. I have something to add, though. Regarding gourmet, we are promoting local delicacies to our tourists, and we are also promoting our local festivals. On top of the birth of Buddha, the Bun Festival, or the Dragon Dance Festival, we also have some events of smaller scale so that tourists can go to different districts in Hong Kong to experience our gourmet. Chairman, Taoism, Buddhism, and Confucianism are a local and Chinese characteristics. I think that the Hong Kong TV have not touched on it. I think that we need to promote our outstanding traditional Chinese culture. Chairman, I think that this is about the Home Affairs Bureau. religious activities is, of course, a major event of ours. But I think that local people may be more interested in these activities. There are some activities with potential. On the 23rd of March, people patron the Tinhao Temple, and I think that for religious activities, I will refer people to the HYAB. Mr. Alan Chan, thank you. I have to declare interest. I am a member of the Hotel Association. The company I serve have 2 hotels and 1 outbound travel agencies. I'd like to ask about the blueprint for tourism development 2.0. I'd like to follow on 2 questions. CSTB 006 and 007. In the government's reply, it is said that in 2025, 9.3 million visitors came to Hong Kong, of which 1.7 million traveled to Chinese mainland via Hong Kong. They stayed in Hong Kong for around 3 nights on average, with a per capita spending of about 5,500 Hong Kong dollars. These visitors go to the mainland under the 240-hour visa-free transit policy. They went to the mainland via the Zhongshan port, the Hong Kong, Zhuhai, Macau port, and the Guangzhou, Pazhou ferry terminal. Are we going to include also the Shenzhen port? Because we have the Shenzhen airport that can connect to 130 mainland cities. So I wonder if we're going to include Shenzhen port to the policy. Second, I think that we need more cities covered by the individual travel scheme. We do have the capacity to carry more passengers to 10 more cities. And I think that our carrying capacity may go to waste. I think that we need to open up more cities under the individual travel scheme. Mr. Chan, you've already spent 2 minutes on your questions. Secretary. Chairman, in the panel on economic development, I've already covered this with Mr. Chan. As for the 240-hour visa-free transit policy, it will benefit Hong Kong if we can incorporate more boundary control points or ports under the policy. We'll try to work on it. As for the individual travel scheme and the 30 cities covered by that, our country has offered us many preferential policies, and I hope that the trade will make good use of what we have. We have 9 million overseas visitors coming to Hong Kong. 1.7 million of them travel to mainland via Hong Kong. There is great potential for us to develop a multi-destination tourism, and this is one of our goal of development as well. We'll continue to look into it, but as I said time and again, as we include more cities under the individual visit scheme, we need to look at multiple factors, including our carrying capacity. Also, we need to make sure that when visitors come here, they feel welcome. In the past, when we open up too many cities in one go under the scheme, there were things that we were lacking. Mr. Lau Ka-kun, thank you. I'd like to follow up on my own question. That is CSTB 109. The government said that from 2023 to 25, the number of non-mainland overnight visitors are growing, but the average number of nights they spend here have gone down from 3.8 in 2023 to 3.2 in 2025. Can the government share with us why visitors are spending fewer nights in Hong Kong. What can we do to lengthen their stay here? Secretary, I will say a few words first, and then I will ask Mr. Lau to elaborate. 2023 was a very interesting year. Visitors spent 3.8 nights on average here, but we only had 4.788 million visitors in that year. That was when we just resumed normal travel after COVID. The hotel rates were quite high. We used to use this term revengeful tourism all the time. In 2024, it was closer to what we have on a regular basis. In 2024, we had 7 million visitors. 2025, 8 million visitors. The average length of stay was about 3.3, 3.2. That's about the level before COVID. Now we have mega events, we have more attractive destinations, and we also have this immersive light show in Central. Hopefully, by having all these events, we'll have more visitors. Mr. Lau. On top of what the Secretary just said, we have made adjustment to our estimates this year. We hope that we can attract more overnight visitors to Hong Kong or lengthen their stay here. About 75% of our estimates will be spent on non-mainland market. As for the remaining 25%, they're going to spend on the mainland markets that are not within the Guangdong province. Those visitors, when they come to Hong Kong, they need to take an airplane because they are further away from Hong Kong. As a result, they may be staying overnight here. Mr. Albert Chuang. Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to follow up on my own question, that is CSTB 044. In the government's reply, it is said that the government have this film development fund, and they have this film production grant scheme for promoting Chinese culture. I support the trade in developing the mainland market, and I also think that we need to promote Chinese culture. Can the administration share with us any examples of films that have obtained funding under the grant? And I wonder what is the percentage of this grant scheme?
Secretary. Thank you, Chair. Now, the film production grant scheme for promoting Chinese culture is a new scheme. We will very soon make an announcement. We have actually selected 2 films. Grants will be given to these 2 films. Now, it's a new scheme. We don't have any successful cases to report, but we're confident in the film selected. As for the film financing scheme for mainland market, I understand that some films are now at the post-production stage. They've almost completed the production process. As you all know, during the past few years, because of COVID, the film industry has been struggling and the progress is rather slow. So again, I am afraid I cannot report on any successful cases for the time being. But in fact, internally, we held meetings to consider the Film Development Fund and the number of schemes that are covered by the FDF, and we might consolidate them. For example, after giving approval to a particular film would be able to be launched more quickly, and that we can optimize the use of resources to produce films more tailored to the taste of the market. Now, I thank Mr. Zhuang for the reminder, and we will see whether there is any room to consolidate the schemes. Ms. Vivian Carr, I would like to follow up on the scheme to help retired athletes transform. In 2024, $130 million was set aside for the scheme. Now, in this financial year, $20 million have been set aside. Now, are there any indicators to gauge the effectiveness? Because according to the reply, 29 athletes in the past 2 years successfully switched to a new career under the RATP, and 27 of them have taken jobs in the sports industry. That accounts for 90%. Are there targeted measures for retired athletes to make contribution to the integration of culture and tourism so that they have the confidence and the courage to start a second career? I'd like to declare that I'm also a retired athlete. Yes, in fact, I want to echo what Ms. Kong said. She is a very successful example of a retired athlete taking up a second career. And this year we reserved $20 million for retired athletes to switch tracks, so that upon retirement they can then take up further studies or take up jobs in another area. We do not require them to remain in the sports industry. In fact, at the moment, most of the retired athletes remain in the industry because this is, after all, the field that they are familiar with. They may need a boost of confidence in order to switch tracks somewhere else. Now, under the RATP, we make arrangements for athletes to receive training in the schools or in the sports institutions, and upon completion of the training, they can then join other industries. In fact, some of these candidates joined different sectors such as education or insurance, or even the disciplinary forces. In terms of serving the community, perhaps since these positions are more visible and it's easy for us to spot retired athletes in community work, it's very important to support retired athletes. In order to develop professionalism in sports and developing sports as an industry, we need to make sure that athletes can focus on the training and the competition during their peak in the sports career without worrying about their future prospects or studies. Next, Ms. Maggie Chen. Thank you, Chair. I have further questions on 11 and 24. On CSTB 011, this is a question on fostering exchange with the mainland on Chinese culture, and according to the paper, in 2024-25, $77.8 million was set aside for the purpose. I'd like to have details of the breakdown and have them expressed in percentage terms, because otherwise, how do we know more about the KPIs, especially in relation to the general history of China exhibition series and the National Development and Achievement series, as well as the Hong Kong ICH? I'd like to know the exact expenditure and the relevant percentage so that we can gauge the effectiveness of the resources put in. Number 24 relates to national patriotic education and red tourism. Again, I'd like to have the specific details of the expenditure and its breakdown so that we can better gauge the resources put in and the effectiveness. Secretary. Now, in fact, the last paragraph of CSTB 24 refers to the following. For red tourism projects, etc., they are subsumed under the overall expenditure. We are not going to be mincing, but in terms of percentage terms, I'm afraid it's quite difficult to quantify the portion set aside for, say, this aspect. As for the other question, that is 011, promoting traditional Chinese culture. We hold various activities every year, including the Chinese Culture Festival. This is the third festival, and the Ice Age month. Last year it was held, and this year we're going to hold the same again. About exhibitions that the member mentioned, we have we're going to hold the third series. I'll give the floor to the director. About Ice Age month. Last year, we held the inaugural Ice Age month with an estimate of 6 million. Now, in future, we plan to set aside $6 million together with existing resources of the LCSD to hold the Ice Age month. As for the Chinese Cultural Festival, annually we plan to set aside $20 million for the various activities. As for KPIs, we consider attendances. For example, for Ice Age month, we expect to have 100,000 participants. Last year, we managed to exceed the KPI. According to our stats, 160,000 people attended the event. As for Chinese Cultural Festival, some 900,000 people attended the events. So we want to enrich the content so that we'll be able to attract more locals and visitors to join the events. As for museum exhibitions, depending on the content of the exhibitions and different museums, we put in different levels of resources. For example, for this civilization of the Sui Tang dynasties in Shanxi province, we are going to collaborate with the Shanxi Provincial Museum, and we have other collaboration projects. When it comes to promoting Chinese culture, we will conduct publicity in greater depth and breadth so that members of the public will fully appreciate the beauty of Chinese culture. Mr. Perry Yu, I'd like to follow up on CSTB 189 and 194, two questions that I submitted. The first question is about a Symphony of Lights, when it will come to an end. I fully agree that the Symphony of Lights started in 2004. It's been a long-running show. The budget this year proposes replacing a Symphony of Lights with an immersive light show. And according to the reply, in the past 2 years, $5 million was set aside every year to keep the show running. That means for private buildings taking part in the show, they paid for the maintenance expenses. So when the new immersive light show comes on stream, will there be a transitional period? Because the sum is not such a great amount. Will you keep the Symphony of Lights running first? And if the immersive light show proves to be successful, then perhaps by then a Symphony of Lights can be phased out. Don't you think this is a prudent way to go about it? And I want to know whether fees will be involved when you cancel the Symphony of Lights show. Will you pay the private buildings for taking down some facilities, for example? Secretary, well, about the fees of taking things down, perhaps my colleagues can supplement later. Let me take Mr. Yu's question on when the Symphony of Lights will complete its historic mission. Now, this is the first time we make this announcement. We hope to say goodbye to a Symphony of Lights in the fourth quarter of this year. A Symphony of Light show has been running for 20 years. Now, it may not be as attractive nowadays as it was first launched, but still, it's been around for so many years. So we need to work with the Hong Kong Tourism Board to think about a proper farewell to the show. Now, after bidding this show farewell, I want to reassure Mr. Yu that if we are to reinstate a Symphony of Light show simply because the immersive light show is not attractive enough, then that would be a total failure on our part. So I don't think this is going to happen. Rather, we want to bid a light of Symphony show farewell, and then we can then start the immersive light show. Every year we hold the Winter Fest. During this festival, attractive Christmas trees and building decorations will be put up, and this year is no exception. Now give the floor to my colleague to see if the fees of demolition will be involved. Different buildings have installed different gadgets. Some are under the charge of the buildings, some are under our charge. They come in different forms. So if the equipment belongs to us, that means we are responsible for taking them down. And we're discussing with colleagues whether these facilities or equipment can be reused or reinstalled at different places for other purposes. I do not have any figures at hand to report. Just to supplement, Chairman, I am fully confident in this matter. But then if there is an immersive light show, perhaps we can have shows at different locations with different themes. So since the cost involved is not that high, I'm just suggesting whether we can further enhance the attractiveness of the night economy. Next, Ms. Christine Fong. My questions are on 055, 056, and 057. I think the government has made a lot of efforts in promoting culture, sports, and tourism. The reply refers to Sai Kung volcanic rock region, and that there's an R2G boat tour of the Sai Kung volcanic rock region. This tour attracted over 400 visitors to come. I think this item is full of potential. I'd like to know from the government or the Hong Kong Tourism Board the estimates involved for the publicity of this program. Because if it's 400 visitors in total, I want to know whether it's cost effective enough. And how is the publicity expenditure spent? Are you going to put up ads on platforms? And will resources be put in to improve the hardware at the outlying islands, such as additional toilets, piers, and enhance efforts in waste management? Because for the East Dam, which receives 3,000 to 4,000 visitors on average during peak days, this is a problem. Will you enhance publicity so that tours can be organized for the visitors to go to Sai Kung, to patronize the F&B establishments and stay longer? Secretary, well, like Ms. Fong said, I think the local travel agents would definitely grasp on the opportunities and organize such tours. At the moment, some visitors just go to Sai Kung, to the tourist attraction directly from the BCPs, etc. Now, we welcome the operation of tours, but we do require the tours to be licensed. Otherwise, it's against the law. In fact, we have noticed that some tours are operating illegally. The tour guides are not licensed, and we've reflected the situation to the mainland counterparts. We need to look after the interests of local travel agents. The second question is about estimates for publicity. Let's see if the Hong Kong TB has anything to share with you, but I don't think it's easy because they may not have a breakdown on the publicity for this particular item. For this tour, attracting 400 visitors, let's see if he has additional information. Now, on the whole, for tourist attractions, especially eco-tourism attractions, whether it's possible to upgrade facilities or add more toilets. I think this is a question to be directed to the AFCD or other relevant government departments. For this tourism hotspot working group, we mentioned some of these items, and for these projects, there will be an upgrade of the facilities, including the Four Peaks and etc. And the estimates will be reflected in the AFCD's budget.
推廣方面呢，
Executive Director, we promote green tourism, and most of the attractions that we promote under this theme is in Sai Kung. It's difficult for me to give you just the estimates for Sai Kung and how much we're going to spend on just green tourism. As for island hopping tour, we subsidize the ship owner, and we don't have the relevant figures. Last member to speak, Mr. Vincent Chang. You have some 3 minutes left. I have questions regarding 026. It's about Kai Tak Sports Park. We have achieved some great results with the Kai Tak Sports Park. The box office ticket sales is great. The people flow was substantial. We just had the Rugby 7. We're going to have the UCI bicycle competition. The Kai Tak Sports Park have been hosting so many games and competition. The KPIs have mostly been met, including the number of participants, the maintenance of facilities. We have had 749,000 people patroning the park. The secretary said just now that the calculation may not be the most accurate. How can we host more events, games in Kai Tak Sports Park this year? Second, I'd also like to ask about a Symphony of Light. I feel sorry for the cancellation of the show because this is a very popular free of charge show for tourists. In the future, we're going to have this immersive light show in Central. Can we stage them on the both sides of the Victoria Harbour so that it's easier for tourists to watch the show at the harbour front? Secretary, thank you. Chairman, a simple answer to member's second question. The West Kowloon will definitely be a part of the show. I know that visitors like to go to Tsim Sha Tsui harbour front. We will work on it. As for Kai Tak Sports Park, I've said time and again that in 2019, we set some KPIs. They may not be good enough. Say, for example, when we come up with a 40-day target, we only count the days when a game is played, but we have not taken into account the days spent on preparation. That may not be the most proper way for calculations. We just staged Rugby 7. We've had concerts. We need to spend days on laying grass on the stadium, and we need to put the grass under the light. If we just count 3 days of the Rugby 7, we may have ignored the reality. I agree with what Mr. Chang said. We need to make use of Kai Tak Sports Park for sports. We hope that the Hong Kong Football Festival in summer will become a brand, and we will try to host more mega events there, especially football games, especially when we have international games that involve China-Hong Kong team, including qualifying rounds or finals. We hope to stage them at Kai Tak Sports Park as far as possible. The progress is ideal as of right now. Thank you. That's the end of this session. Tomorrow's special FC will start early tomorrow. Thank you.